Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 3rd, 2025 Litchfield School Board meeting. It is now 5:30. We're going to call the meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we have any changes to tonight's agenda from any of the board members? Okay, hearing none, we have consent. Anything off consent tonight? I think just one program update for the Budget Committee. Just as an update for the board, Budget Committee does start voting on the school budget tomorrow. So I'll be there, I believe, along with the superintendent and business administrator as well. So. All right, moving into summary of non-public actions from November 19th, 2025. Mr. Plansky moved to approve the November 5th, 2025 non-public meeting minutes. Mr. Shoemaker seconded that motion. That carried 4-0. Mr. Shoemaker motioned to accept the resignation of LMS mental health counselor Greg
Mr. P.
Mr. P. Thank you. Mr. Plansky seconded that motion. That motion passed 4-0. Mr. Shoemaker motioned to approve the proposed LEA contract. Mr. Cutter seconded that motion. That motion passed 4-0. And Mr. Shoemaker motioned to adjourn the non-public session at 8:14. Mr. Cutter seconded that motion, and that carried 4-0 as well. We have some presentations tonight, and we have an LMS crew with us. So welcome, everyone. We'll turn it over to Principal Grantham for some
not me.
kickoff and some, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Here, take one more.
Everyone have a good remote learn day yesterday?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, pull them all in nice and tight.
Well, we're gonna make it work.
Before we start, I'm going to ask you guys first names just to introduce yourselves because this is a very important crew. You've seen their live report. This is going to be a live broadcast right in front of you. So we're going to go ahead starting with Kiernan. Introduce yourself first.
I'm Kiernan. Hello.
I'm Lila. I'm Brooklyn. Hi, my name's Kylie. I'm Abigail.
Hi, everyone.
And we have the links here. He still has yet to get a name, but he's here.
All right. Well, welcome, everyone.
All right, Kiernan, you're up.
Hello, Litchfield School Board members and Superintendent O'Connell. Did you know just a few students came together to bring a serious school spirit to Litchfield Middle School? That's right. Today we're here to tell you about our incredible journey with LinksCast and how a simple idea turned into a super exciting thing for our community.
It all started when a small group of students had a bright idea. What if we had a Lynx mascot to represent our school? Since we didn't have one, we thought it would be a fun way to boost school pride. We went to Miss Grantham with our idea, and guess what? She loved it.
From there, we found the perfect Lynx costume online to help and used school funds from student picture proceeds. Yes, your photos helped us make this happen. To buy the mascot costume, now our Lynx mascot is ready to cheer on at sports games, school competition, and school events like our upcoming Celebrate the Season. It's all about spreading school spirit and fun.
But that's not all. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, part of our school day is Lynx Time. Lynx Time is a special period choice where students can explore activities they love. And because we're passionate about sharing positivity, we started LinksCast, our very own school news team.
Each week we meet with Ms. Grantham to produce a fun, informative newscast that keeps everyone in our LMS community in the loop about school events, wins, and even silly moments. Today we made a fun video about our Giving Tree fundraiser, which is going on until next Tuesday, December 9th. We hope it makes you smile while reminding you to support a great cause.
So we want to talk about how we've learned and improved our newscast. We start by brainstorming ideas about what our students need to know, what's happening at LMS. It was funny when we started because we have more bloopers than Kevin Hart. Each day we improve our ability to speak publicly. We also have more enthusiasm for what we are doing and have made our videos more engaging with interviews from students, staff, and community members. We especially enjoy making the funny videos like our Little Mermaid Lost and Found video. It breaks up the normal announcements into something humorous that provides information. Here's today's video, Go Giving Tree.
I didn't realize that was my cue, sorry. Maybe it's coming.
Maybe.
It's on my screen.
Do, 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 do. Wait. No pressure.
Maybe we
The one time it doesn't work, right?
Right?
Mentioned a blooper reel, right?
This is the blue right here. Perfect. What do we learn from when things like this happen when we're recording? Kiernan?
We learned to play it out and just to have fun.
That's it. That's all you can do, right?
Yep.
Technology.
That is life advice right there. That is not just Linkscast advice.
So links time. What do you guys like about links time? We'll off the cuff while we're waiting to see if this comes up. What's your favorite part about coming together for this?
Probably the bloopers are always really funny.
We have a blooper reel that we have going on that is probably longer than any of the recordings we've sent out publicly, but it's usually really good. What else, guys?
I like when we get together and kind of just make videos to kind of show the whole school kind of like what our school is doing and what's kind of happening at the school.
If you can't get it up, it's okay because you have it in your link. We'll be okay with that. Do you want to conclude our live broadcast today? 1, 2, 3.
Thanks for listening. And remember, stay awesome, LMS.
Awesome. Great job, guys. Thank you for coming in and presenting. I think it has to do with the cable. We've had this issue before.
Yeah, because it's
Finicky.
doing the thing
It's
on my
finicky.
screen
Yeah, it's finicky.
where it says it's connected.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Yeah.
You may have this on as well. Great.
Yep.
All right, we'll switch gears and move it over to the student rep report and Dom. I know we're having some TV issues, but the board has it linked, so certainly we have access to it if you're, if that works for you tonight.
Sure.
Yeah. You can just go.
So, are you guys good?
Yeah, we're good. We have it on the winter sports.
All right, me too. All right, so for the winter sports, the boys and girls basketball held their tryouts on November 24th and 25th. The boys have a game tonight versus Epping, and the girls' game is tomorrow. Wrestling tryouts were held on November 17th, and hockey and track tryouts were held on December 1st.
Great.
The past events, the district-wide Make a Difference food drive has come to an end. Junior gobblgrams for CHS. The NHS inductions have also come to an end, and student council food drive, as well as the Thanksgiving break. Now the things that are currently happening within our school. The Spirit of Litchfield holiday event was supposed to happen on the 2nd, but that was canceled due to snow, or due to weather. The Winter Stuco Conference, as well as the St. Paul's School Summer Program presentation in the CHS Auditorium, Santa's Breakfast, which is put on by our NHS Society, and the Winter Sports Tryouts that are currently happening. Now the things coming up for us, we have the Stuco Christmas Caroling, which I was briefed about that today. We're doing it in the 55 plus community, and that is a mandatory event for all Stuco members, so everyone's going to be there. The CHS Chorus Concert, staff breakfast, as well as the CHS Tree Lighting Assembly. Now for the middle school, the robotics team is heading to the state competition on December 6th. The annual door decorating competition is coming up on the 11th.
It's fun. Yeah.
LMS Drama is presenting a High School Musical, the junior version, on the 12th and 13th. Spirit Week is going on from the 15th to the 19th, and the 25th annual Giving Tree concert. Down at Griffin, there wasn't too much going on, but they collected over 12,000 items for the Make a Difference food drive. This Friday is the Disney Day at GMS, and the PTO Holiday Store is next week, December 9 and 10. And that's what's going on in the district.
Okay, a couple of weeks to the holiday break, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone's holding up for that one. So.
Thank you for the update.
Sure.
Any questions for Dom and what's happening in the schools? Okay, appreciate the update. Thank you.
Sure.
Next up, we have community comment. This is our first of 2 community comments tonight. Welcome, Mr. Oblinas.
Good day, or evening, I should say. Thank you. I will be brief. I did send you a memo that responded to information that you supplied to me.
Sorry,
and-
just name and address.
Oh, sorry, Ron Oblinas, 15 Riverview Circle.
Thank you.
I should get a name tag. And I won't read it into it, provided if you would just agree to put a link to it in your meeting minutes, and
I'll share it with our minute taker, and they can add it.
okay, that would be fine.
Yep.
But what I really want to talk about tonight is a comment you made last week, Ms. Ames, that, and I went back and looked at it, and you talked about where I'm fighting you all every step of the way. And I really want to highlight that that's not the case. If you remember, my engagement with this board began about 2 years ago, last month, when I began to question the proposal for the new school. And if you remember, through participation with the council and listening to what was presented as facts in a short period of time through December, I actually supported the new school. I actually made a video to support that.
Yep.
And I actually, you'll see it, went on with Mr. Lasky and spent a lot of time supporting that. So it's not that I'm fighting you every step of the way. What's changed is following that particular episode, I went back and did a whole bunch of research and found a lot of the assumptions that supported the new school were false. I also want to go back to the fact that in 1995, I think it was, when we started looking at this building. My name's on the plaque that's outside there. And that lady right there, Pat Jewett, asked me 3 times to be on the building committee. I refused her because I said, I don't think we need a new building. She said, okay, that's fine, just as long as you come on. I said, I will join it, provided that we seriously look at every option. And we did. We actually hired a structural engineer, and looked at, if you remember, the town hall and the police station were in the little building that's down in the town center. And we discovered that the joists in that building were made out of hewn timber, spaced quite far apart, clearly not able to support a modern office space. Following that, I changed my mind. I supported this building. I actually gave the presentation. I'm not sure if anybody of you remember being there. Presenting this to the town. It was done at LMS. LMS gym was full. I did the presentation on that. So I'm not here to fight. I'm here to hold some accountability. And I want to know that I can be convinced to change my mind, as I just described. But the difficulty is that the situation for the taxpayers is very difficult. In fact, from the memo that I talked about, I'm just going to read the last paragraph. It says that, the reason this issue was so critical to understand is that the overstaffing situation is a major contributor to the out-of-control increases in the school budget. Based on analysis of the tax rate from just 2021 to this tax bill of December 2025, the school board portion of tax rate is increased a total of 30.48%. The average increase is 7.62%. Due to the town tax cap, the budget at the town portion has only increased a total of 9.97%, and the average increase per year is 2.49%. In short, the increase of the school budget cannot continue at the rate unless the school board and the budget committee make serious reductions such as suggested in this memo. A school budget cap is not far away. The reason I come here is I come here as a taxpayer, and I'm looking for solutions. I think there's low-cost solutions that we're not looking at. I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to find a solution for everybody. It's been 30 years that GMS has been in the condition it's in now. I find it difficult to continue to expect that we're going to continue that for another 10 years. If we don't look at options that taxpayers can support, they're going to reject it. The CIP met on the same night that the last forum met. They have in the next 6 years, if I get the numbers right, $22 million are going to be spent. Add that to the tax rate. It is unsustainable. So I'm asking for you to provide some accountability and really look at some of the things I suggest. With that, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. All right. Any other public comment this evening? Seeing nobody, we'll close that. And there's a second round of community comment this evening. And we'll turn it over to Vice Chair Ames for correspondence.
Thank you very much. On November 20th, Julie Darling emailed the board circulating the FY27 budget changes after our school board meeting. Also updated the default budget, and there was a response from the superintendent. On November 24th, Jan Sullivan emailed the board circulating the draft public and non-public minutes from the November 18th board meeting. On November 24th, Mr. Cutter emailed the SAU staff, wishing the team a very happy Thanksgiving and expressing our appreciation for their time and dedication to the district. And there were responses from Holly Falzone, Peter Plansky, and Julie Darling. On November 25th, Jen Grantham emailed the board circulating the latest edition of Linkscast. On November 25th, Ann Enamarati circulated an accounts payable manifest, which included live checks and EFT. On November 27th, Mr. Polanski sent a text message to the board wishing the board a happy Thanksgiving, and there were responses from all members and the superintendent. On November 28th, Ron Oblinas emailed the board circulating a memo, which it was just referred to, in response to the email related to staffing numbers. On December 1st, Ann Enamarati emailed the board circulating the additional accounts payable manifest for utilities and time-sensitive payments. On December 3rd, Ann Enamarati emailed the board circulating the 403B payroll manifest, and there was a response from Mr. Plansky. Okay, and on December 3rd, Heidi Ames emailed the board and the superintendent advising that I would be relocating out of the district effective December 12th, and therefore would be resigning my position from the board. I'm going to say it without crying. Just give me a minute. I'm going to read my letter. Mr. Cutter, it is with mixed emotions that I'm writing to formally resign from the Litchfield School Board effective December 13th, as I will be relocating to Hampton, New Hampshire. It is difficult to put into words how much the last 4.5 years have meant to me. While not easy, definitely not easy. I have always felt a sense of pride and purpose being a part of the board and being a part of this district. I did want to say to the amazing teachers and staff, you are truly the heart and soul of our district. Your kindness, professionalism, and dedication to our students is top-notch, and Litchfield is lucky to have you. Even though I won't be a resident, I will be at deliberative, sitting in the non-voting section with you, ready to sing your praises, and so I'm excited to be there. To the administrators, to the superintendent, to the SAU team, you are the glue that holds our district together. You lead with compassion and collaboration and respect. Your passion for education shines through everything that you all do, and it inspires those around you to want to be better. To the board, you set the tone, and I'm happy to say that the current tone is collaborative and supportive. I respect each and every one of you and your commitment to the town and the district. Only those who volunteer truly understand the amount of time that it takes and the sacrifice away from family, friends, and sometimes employment. And you do it willingly, and you do it for a greater purpose, which is to help make our schools in town better for future students. And I'm so grateful for you. And to the town of Litchfield, I wanted to say thank you for your support. You are a small but mighty town, and while I read some of the negative chatter about traffic online this weekend, there's 10 times more positive things and actions happening in a much quieter way sometimes. From the school plays, to sport championships, to the beautification, to the 4th of July parade, Spirit of Litchfield, farm stands. There's just so much good happening in town because of the wonderful people in it, and I am grateful to have lived here for 20 years. So I thank you for the opportunity to serve. I made it through mostly in one piece. I wish you all the very best. So my last meeting will actually be tonight. This has happened very quickly, the closing of the home and the way that it worked, and so I do wish I was able to give publicly more notice about what my plan was. I certainly have appreciated my time here and will do everything I can if I can be helpful in terms of the next however many days, but that does leave a little bit of a hole in terms of vice chair. It leaves a whole policy. It leaves a hole for joint loss. That one's easy, I promise. Someone should volunteer for that one because that one's quick and easy. Yeah. 15 minutes a quarter, that's about it. But truly, I'm happy to help in any way that I can, and I will be here for deliberative because as I served on the negotiating team, I feel like it's important for me to be here and see that contract through and to help support our teachers, the LEA, for sure. So thank you for letting me speak and say that out loud, and obviously it's up to you guys in terms of how you want to proceed.
Yeah, thank you, and certainly big shoes to fill on the board, right? There'll be a hole in this board for some time. No loss for words, right? Certainly, I shared this through a message.
Yeah, and I already cried over it once, so thanks.
Friend, neighbor, right? We've been through a lot over the last several years, even from the GMS Playground Committee.
I mean, that was years ago.
Years ago,
yeah.
right? That's a blast from the past, right?
Yep.
But we've done a lot, and I've always trusted you and looked to you for your opinions and valued those opinions. So
I appreciate it.
Nothing but the best.
Education is so important. I encourage our town to continue to invest in it. I understand it's difficult and that we are facing difficult financial times, but investing in our kids, there's no greater gift than that, and that is the future. So, and I know you guys will look after that and care for that. And again, I feel, the one thing I did say to someone is I do feel like I'm leaving the board in a better place than when I joined it. Like, it's more collaborative, more supportive. I really feel like in terms of our administrators, we have the right people in place. I feel really good about where it's left. And so I feel extreme guilt about not finishing my commitment, but I'm sure I'll get over that by the next time there's a Wednesday meeting and I'm not here.
Peter and I decided that you should
I'll
sign the manifest.
Such a great parting gift. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you very much.
All right. Just in terms of process, right, and before we move into general business, this obviously leaves a hole on the board, right? And in the past, when we've done appointments, typically we'll put out a form to the community. And the superintendent, I don't know if you want to share in your weekly communication, just a general link to a basic form, right, for those who are expressing interest. Right. Generally in that form, it's, hey, tell us why you're interested in serving an appointment. The appointment will be for from now until March, and that March will be up for town election, right? And that town election will serve Heidi's remaining term. Your remaining term is one more year. So that position will be on the ballot for 1 year, and then it'll be a 3-year cycle from that point forward.
Sounds good.
Right, and then at our next, maybe that's open for a week, and then at our next school board meeting, we can evaluate those who are interested and go from there.
Why you want to serve and why you think you're qualified? I think that was asked when I was doing it. I thought hearing other people talk was helpful too.
Yep. So we'll get it out there in your message. We'll get it out there to the WhatsApp page and other community. If there's others interested, please let us know. We'll get you that link as well once it's available. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. And at our next meeting, we'll start off with nominating a vice chair as well. and we'll also look to fill those open positions for the subcommittees. So, if anyone wants policy or.
You get to spend a lot of time with me.
There's also one other subcommittee that she's on.
Yes,
the
great.
Litchfield
Yeah, the
Review
curriculum,
Committee.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's an amazing committee. I'm just gonna say that.
Policy's pretty boring.
I did selfishly. I mean, I did policy for
You did.
before I, so it kind of makes sense, right? So, okay. Anything else on Heidi's departure from the board members?
You will absolutely be missed. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
definitely helped me ease my transition into this board and
Thank you.
showed me how to campaign and all that fun stuff.
Hold a sign. It's really hard in the cold. Yeah.
But the Seacoast is a great
It
place.
snowed the
It-
day that I got it.
Yeah, it's
It
true.
was
It's true.
8 degrees
Yeah.
for 24 hours. He had it easy.
We appreciate your commitment. over
Thank
all
you.
this.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm only 15 minutes away, and if anyone ever wants to stop by on the way to the beach, please do.
What's the parking rate?
We'll see. We'll work something out. I gotta pay for the house somehow, so.
All right, we'll turn it over to the superintendent to get into general business tonight.
I just want to say thank you to, you're the one who hired me. I got the phone call from you. I remember sitting in my office at Bo when you called. I was just so happy, and you were so kind through the process. I mean, the whole board was, but I was talking most with you, Heidi, at the time, and just incredibly welcoming, and I wish you the best of
Thank
luck,
you.
and we're going to miss you here, so.
That was like one of the best phone calls I got to make on the board, so.
So thank you.
Thank you.
So shifting gears, like 180 degrees here, to warrant articles. That first link is kind of our working document on warrant articles for the March elections. We'll have to update Article A there, which is about electing school board members to include slightly different language now. So we'll update that with our attorneys to make sure we get that correct. Everything here has been already vetted through our attorneys. The articles related to the potential building project are being reviewed by bond counsel right now as well. I just haven't heard back from Rennell yet. So, but our attorneys gave us a couple of suggestions on Article 1 there that we've updated for this here. Nothing major. We can kind of go through them. We don't have the numbers yet for one. We're hoping to get those by the end of the week. As soon as I get those, I will share those out to all relevant parties, including the board, obviously. So we can have those discussions and start looking at what the actual bond is and the rate and everything kind of connected to that. The second article is the operating budget and the default budget. While we're wrapping things up with the budget committee, we've kind of left those numbers out for now too, but we'll just put those numbers in once we finalize that. And then the third is the LEA contract and how it will look to the voters when we put it on the warrant. Those are the accurate numbers. Once we put in, the increase for contracts, from this standpoint, there's a decrease for health insurance. Now, there's an increase to the rate, but how it shows up here, there's an initial decrease to the health insurance, so that's reflected in this year one dollar figure that you see there. And then the stuff that we do with stipends, which is very minor in the big scheme of things. And then Article 4 is the one that if 3 is defeated, so we can have a special meeting related to it. And then Article 5 is the naming of the baseball field for Coach Gorham that we discussed last board meeting. There's a link there just for your sake for the policy, so if you needed to see it again, that's what that link is there. And then Articles 6 through 10 are for the various reserve funds. We've put dollar amounts in there. We can discuss some more. We included an article for not all of the funds, but the ones that we talked about last meeting. So we don't have to keep them all there. We can change the dollar figure. It's up to the board what you would like to do. But we put the figures we did talk about last meeting in there now, for now as placeholders. So open it up, questions, discussion, whatever you would like.
So in terms of Articles 6 and 7 and beyond, right, is there any board comment, change in ordering?
I think Article 6, we do need to have a discussion about adequately funding reserves in light of what we've learned about health insurance. I certainly think that funding it only to the extent of retirement projections is insufficient.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, we're evaluating options to try to figure out what's gonna be the most fiscally responsible for the district from a health insurance perspective overall. I certainly don't think that we need to, I don't think with school care, I don't think there's any way of predicting, because there's no caps, there's no way of predicting what we would need in a reserve account. I think that's part of what we're trying to tackle, is figure out something that will give us some more definitive idea on what caps would look like, and therefore we could more accurately budget. My impression is that we will be able to become much more fiscally tight with, if we look at some of the other options potentially, and could really save the district quite a bit of money by leveraging, by hedging our risk by having adequate reserves. So I think we need to start looking at funding that. I think we should take a step towards that this year. I don't know what the right amount is though.
That's it, is what is that right dollar amount, right? Like, also, I mean, you and I have talked about this in the insurance meetings that we've had, right? I mean, it's certainly appealing to start to think about that, but what is that right dollar amount? And this is where sequencing matters, right? Because Article 6, the way it stands, would essentially get funded first, right? And is that the right ordering? And what does that look like in terms of a dollar amount, and in terms of, does it take priority over the other articles at that point?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess my initial thought would be that it would come after some of the other funds, especially given that we don't have a number or where we're gonna go. But it was like 400K, right, for the shortfall
what
this
we
year?
did
It wouldn't be
this
that
year.
number, it would be
No.
some
Right, no.
percentage of that
no,
probably.
my gut says that I think like around 100.
I think when we've looked at some of the other options that we've had, and just for transparency's sake for the public, we've been meeting with different health insurance providers to see if there's something that's makes more sense for us as a district and makes more sense for our employees from a financial standpoint. And when we've had some of these conversations and we're looking at protecting the district, $100,000 seems to be kind of the window we're looking at. We're still exploring these options. We're not ready to present anything to anybody yet because, for example, we're meeting with a company this upcoming Friday that we haven't met with yet. We want to see what their proposal is. But as we look to the future of maybe readjusting, we saw the issues that arise with school care, and we need to do our due diligence to look. And as we look, it seems like $100,000 is the thing that could probably help us protect us in the future of any issues that could arise while we're looking at different options, if that makes sense. It wouldn't cover a 1.5-month assessment like we just had this year, but it would, be a good start towards that if we were to reach another assessment like that. I would find it hard to believe that we would have that level of assessment because I would hope school care would learn from their mistakes. But at the same time, I wouldn't say with 100% certainty there won't be an assessment because we just have one, right? And I don't think health insurance is getting
And
that.
the risk that we face as a district is if other districts start to pull out of
Correct.
school care, that will lead likely to another assessment.
Right.
Right, and so what we're trying to do is be a little proactive and plan for worst case scenarios.
Now, in terms of these warrant articles here, and this is just my feeling, just my feeling, right? I would want to talk to lawyers first, but just shooting from the hip here. We leave this as the first of these articles because the specific, that 4,700 is kind of spoken for, right? Like it's tied to retirement benefits for people who have put in for retirement. And so this is a spoken for money in a way. So that's why we leave it first, because it's kind of the most critical to shift to a reserve fund. And I say that, but this particular year is not a lot of money. So if you were to try and do a different amount there, in the event this article fails, we could probably find that money.
Meaning we could
right?
move the order of it? Is that
You
weird?
could,
You could move the order. So if you wanted to, if you felt some of the other articles were more critical, because if people are gonna think about, you're representing the importance of the articles as you put this here, right? So if you wanted to take a risk and say maybe that one doesn't pass, right? Because you're gonna make it a larger dollar amount there than the $4,000, and it was to fail, we probably could figure out a way to cover the $4,700 next year, right? If we had to pay it out next year.
Without going getting too far into the weeds on the rationale behind it, I think it is important to note that that 100,000 is not really just targeted at, we need to protect ourselves. It's a piece in a potential solution that could also result in substantial savings.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's the idea would be that if we had that level of security, we have potential options that could result in substantial savings, because they could come in much lower, but there is a cap, and this would allow us to protect ourselves up to the cap, so we would not exceed that. Whereas with school care, there is no cap, so we don't know. There's just no way of ever accurately predicting what it could be. And I think that, to Andrew's point, like, we really, this year in particular, it's a big toss-up, because if other districts leave, their rates have already been set, and the only way that they would be able to, in my opinion, the only way that they would be able to address any shortfall would be another assessment. Because they can't change the rates at this point.
Well, are the other towns kind of stuck with them for this year, right?
Well, we're not yet 100%, right? I think in the timing of the year, it would be challenging to leave them, but not impossible, right? Like, we've talked about dates, about timelines, and all that type of stuff, right? It's certainly not, we don't have enough time to re-enter negotiations and talk about this, right? So, like, that's a conversation that would have to happen with our LEA and stuff. But there is time to make a different decision for next year. It's not a ton of time. Like, I don't want to think it's, like, definitely happening.
But we also don't know from, like, a other district perspective, though, like, what's going to move the needle. Is it one district leaving, or is it 5 districts leaving?
Probably
right?
depends on the size of the district.
I do think a lot of people, though, I think that's a real fear, because I've talked to other districts, and they're certainly looking at their health insurance options, but I think they're also in the same exact spot we are, right? Like, it's tough to do that move so quickly if you're going to do your due diligence for it, right? So I wouldn't anticipate a radical departure this year from school care.
Well, I guess my point is,
But-
we don't know what's radical in the equation of what then changes the need for an assessment.
Yeah, and again, I'm speculating. I would say it's bigger districts leaving, right? And if you look at some of those bigger districts, they're going to have to negotiate that with bigger unions with different needs and different expectations. I think there's a lot more moving parts for a bigger district to leave something like school care. I'm speculating. I could be way
Or it
wrong.
could be the districts that have, if it's a couple districts that leave that have a better risk profile, right? Because the
That's
whole
true,
thing
too.
about pooled risk program.
So that's the ask, right, is, do we consider adding some additional funds to this article to cover insurance and potential options for insurance costs in the future? Heidi, Dan, what do you think?
I think one of the big reasons why the assessment happened that they were open with is the fact that claims are up. And from what they said, claims are up again still this year, so that's why they couldn't recover. And so I think it's only smart for us to plan that is gonna continue to be the case. Because there may not be the hope is that there isn't a time when we have that much out at the end of year funds to be able to to cover it.
Right.
And if we don't, then what do we do if we don't have these reserve funds?
Right.
I'm not gonna say we were lucky, because that's still money we had to pay, and that still took a hit to taxpayers, but we were gonna have to pay it either way. And so if we can plan it out a little bit better, I don't know that we necessarily need to do the full sum of what the assessment was, but maybe a portion of it to at least have some sort of
Start to build it.
cushion. Yeah. I don't think we can do 400,000,
No way.
435 at once.
I also don't think we need to do 400.
Right, but having, 100,000 in there wouldn't be the worst idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in an alignment. I think adding funds, and if we want to do up to an amount of, right, versus the sum of, then that gives us the ability that we can build it over a couple years, right? If any follow-on assessments are smaller, then it gives us a allowance to build up the cushion. And I would say in terms of, I guess it comes down to in terms of importance and priority, right? It's reordering where that falls in the list of the warrant articles. I think is it is another question that comes in. Because I would say, I would like to see a couple of, if anything, I would like to see what was it? Warrant article like 9 be higher on the list. Just from, it's the technology.
Yeah.
Just from the hearing Brandon talk and understanding, and just doing a little bit of my own research. So, where it can be covered, and then maybe we could do and build into it. I'm all for it.
Okay.
So how much is in the building maintenance capital reserve fund today?
Right now,
Ballpark.
we have 375,000.
And the capital improvement?
Capital improvement is 323,000.
That's the one that we're using that we can use for pre-construction, right?
Correct.
And then building repairs, you're targeting CHS roof replacement at 5% of the room.
Yeah.
Or parking lot?
Oh, parking lot, yeah,
Whatever. That one I think is pretty important.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Article 7 is pretty important.
Yeah,
at the
I would
moment.
agree.
And all of these say raise and appropriate, right? They're not based off of
We are still
year-end.
appropriating it from the end of the year expenditures.
Okay.
Right.
Is there eventually language that comes, I thought there was from Andy.
Yep,
year
so if you
spend.
keep going down in the
Okay.
article, it says with the sum to come from the June 30th fund balance
Okay,
available
perfect.
for
Thank
transfer
you.
on July 1st.
So maybe flip 7 and 6 and do 100? Does that make sense?
Maybe flip 7 and 6 and do 100. Oh, and put a 100,000 in Article 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that, I don't know, that's even too much, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we need to start to build it, no doubt, but is 100,000 too much?
Yeah, I was thinking, 50,000 range, or even 25.
I mean,
Did the 250 we did last year, for whatever reason, I thought that was separate. That was a raise and appropriate
We did.
compared to the
Last year,
year
we
end.
raised it, right.
So are we not looking to do that this year? This year, we're looking at these end of year
Well,
funds?
we can do whatever you want. Last meeting, we did talk about trying to do it all from underspend this year.
Yeah.
Because we tried both approaches last year, and while that one passed with the tax and it as like raise and appropriate, which is great, I feel like our sensitivity to the tax rate
Tax
increase
rate,
this year,
okay.
it made more sense to try and tackle that
Yeah.
through the fund balance at the end of the year. We can certainly go back. We have the same language from last year. We would just.
Or
cycle
is
back.
it because we've already raised and appropriated it, should we just continue that because the tax impact for that's already taken, we've already taken that hit?
I mean, that's that philosophy as well.
Right, because we're not asking essentially for new raise and appropriate, it's continuing, which is the taxpayers have already approved that.
Right.
but are they gonna?
You're still gonna see, I think you're still gonna see, I know what you're saying, and you're correct like that. I wanna double check on what we have to show from an estimated tax impact, because we're
It's not zero.
Yeah, it's not zero,
I
that's what I
agree.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it would be like the
I
point
don't know
two,
that, I don't know that the taxpayer would under,
that's what I worry about. Like, your point is 100% correct, and I believe in, but I don't know, I think people are gonna be so sensitive
our-
to anything
how much would we be
that we
giving
raise
back
with
if we-
taxes that's not the big three, that like, I don't know if it
Yeah.
would pass.
How much would we be giving back if we did all this out of, from underspend?
There's no.
There's no way
We
to
don't
know
know.
until.
No,
We don't know.
not yet.
I mean, there's no guarantee, why the, like, order here is important, is because we may not have enough money to do all of this, right?
Right.
Like, this is dependent on having the underspend. Like, we would like to get to the point where we, like, improve that underspend number, where it's not where we were the past couple of years in this district, right? So, we don't have this massive underspend to do all this stuff, right? Like, it's,
Right.
you know, you have about 400,000, you do about 200,000 of this stuff and 200 back to the taxpayer. Like, that's a good rhythm to get into, right? Like, and we're working towards that. So we've put some big numbers here. There's no guarantee we're even gonna hit them. That's why the order is important.
So we're gonna
Exactly.
move towards, if, we when we achieve that, we're
Yeah.
gonna move towards having to raise and appropriate from taxes for things like this.
For this, I think we're also doing some heavy lifting now to get your reserve funds to appropriate amounts, right? So you don't have to do this every single year, right? Like, we did that with special ed last year. So like, we would only have to revisit special ed for that amount of money if we actually take that money out.
So that's my
Right.
question, right? So looking at that and knowing knowing some of the articles that we have in front of us and knowing special ed as an example and seeing that back on here, do we even need special ed? Can we remove that? Do we even need capital improvement, knowing that what's in there? Can we remove that?
Yeah, certainly.
Knowing that we have GMS?
Yeah, like if you're asking my opinion, sorry, Sarah Pooler, I would say cut the special ed out of here.
Right, that was my reaction, so why are we asking for special ed?
Yeah, we left it there for a discussion point here, but if you're asking my advice, I would advise you to cut it. You did a good job, the district, the community did last year with that warrant article. We put some money in there. We were fortunate that all of our bets last year worked out. We didn't have to access that money, and we're trending in the right direction this year. Now, again, special ed's tricky, can change on a dime, but right now we're trending, knock on wood, really good direction there again. I
just want to make sure of one thing though. You are proactively working to change up our sort of staffing equation because we have so many unfilled positions, right? And that's largely how we've been able to, why it hasn't been a problem when things shift or change, right? Are you comfortable, because the special ed thing scares me because that's one thing that could just, in the blink of an eye, it can change drastically.
Right. We've seen that in districts across the state.
And it's not like we are sitting on reserves that are sufficient to handle 2 or 3 movements.
Yeah, we're about
Maybe 1.5.
1.5 highest case,
Right.
worst case, not worse isn't, I don't like to use that word, but highest costing move-ins, we're sitting about 1.5.
Right. Which is not bad, but
it's
I mean,
not
it's not, but I just want to make sure that because again, we got a lot of moving parts here and you're doing a great job of trying to pare things back, but just keep in mind, you're paring things back. So that extra money that is, we're able to pull from those things won't be there.
Yeah, I think we're okay, right? Like, again, knock on wood, I think we're okay. And we have put just a little bit, this was a small amount here, it was $50,000, which is not a small amount, but it's a small amount for these type of placements. With the idea, I think that would get us to be more comfortably at 2 out-of-district placements if it came to it, right? That would put us over $400,000 in that account. It's a little over 200 when you factor in, tuition, transportation for these type of situations. We'd have 2 in our back pocket if needed, right? And we've really trimmed down those budgeting, just to remind everyone, special ed specifically is down like $400,000 proposed for next year right now. When you factor in that, and that's because we are seeing a decrease in the out of district tuition and associated costs with it, right? And there's a number of factors to that, but, so we are going down in that area in general. But again, it can change on a dime,
Right.
and that's the trickiness of
If
special
you're
ed.
comfortable with, I agree that it'd be good to remove it. I would love to.
Or move it up to that other article and use that money in 6.
Move it up to the other.
Like
Well,
essentially
let's talk
take-
about that separately, right? So,
Yeah.
if the board's comfortable, let's scratch Article 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with
What is the board position on Article 8?
Agreed. I think that for this year, we have. How much money? I guess the question is, how much money are we expecting for pre-construction services?
So the board approved up to 225,000, and so that's gonna bring that down to about 108,000, taking into account the 11,000.
Is there anything else? So, is there anything else like at the beginning of this project that we would need this money for in order to lessen the tax impact?
I mean, any dollar in that account you can use to if you go back to Article 1, built into that Article 1 is you taking money out of that account to offset whatever bond you want to do, right? Let's say that you're using round numbers, $100,000 left in that account, right? You in Article 1 can say you're going to take out that $100,000 and apply it to lessen the bond by $100,000, right?
So last year.
But that doesn't help you with this article, because you can't factor that money into
Right.
that. So all this is doing is giving, what it is kind of allowing you to just put some, it's not
No,
really
I
doing
get
anything,
it. I
put
think
money
that,
in it.
I know that we can't rely on it, but it is one other place to just be cognizant of. So, because the other concern that we had with the bond was the timing of payments of the bonds. Have we figured that out?
Yeah, we have a schedule.
You've worked with Kim Kleiner in terms of when, like tax flow and stuff like that?
Yeah, we've had some
No.
preliminary conversations, and she told us some issues with the.
Cause she was
one that
concerned
was
about that
proposed.
last year. I
Yeah,
wanna
so
make
we
sure
would
that-
absolutely go through
Yeah.
that.
Okay, cause I just wanna make sure that we don't need to be like relying on an account like this to make a bond payment.
No, we met with her probably about a month or two ago at this point, probably longer at this point, or 2 months maybe. And she spoke specifically of that the proposal from last time had some timing issues with the town being able to transfer the money into the school district to pay for the bonds. So we took those notes and have them to make sure that doesn't happen when we set up the bond, right?
So if we don't need if we don't, there's not a need to add more money to that, then I agree. I think it's.
Well, I guess,
I would be okay leaving that one on, but at the bottom, I think if there was money left over, from year end, if we got to it, it would be nice to put more money in it, because I feel capital improvement, if we had to, it is renovation of existing facilities. It could be used towards a roof. Technically, it's not just building and repair for the roof. It could be if we needed that there. So if there is that money at the end, I don't think it's a bad thing to transfer it over.
So just trying to limit the number of articles.
Same.
No, I get it. I hear you.
That was really.
I honestly,
I hear you.
I hear you too, right? So.
Yeah.
so, and so I think I'm in alignment with Heidi, right? I think one of the things that we should think about is what do we want to set as, call it an upper limit for these types of funds?
Yeah.
Right? So for like special education, you had 2, right? It is like a good number just to have in our back pocket. What do we want the capital improvement to be at? What do we want the
Great
building
question.
maintenance to
Great
be
question.
at? And for that, right, this is where I agree with Heidi of if we just drop that to the bottom, right? And then even if we wanted to take that and say, reduce it down to, I think, Julie, you said it was like 120K left, right, after we pay Harriman. So put in 50K to bring us in around the 180 range, right? Just something in case something comes up, and then it's a lower dollar amount.
The other thing, and I hate to be negative here, but gotta think of all scenarios, right? Is if you leave that warrant article on and the building doesn't pass, you've put more money into that warrant, or into that reserve fund, that if you go for the building again, say the next year, right? You can take the money out to offset that bond in the future year, right? Like, so it's like protecting you of that. Now, one of the things in general here that we didn't do this last year, we talked about it last year, we didn't do it, we didn't put it in these warrant articles, is percent caps, right? Where you can say a percentage of, like, you can cap the amount of money you're taking out to up to 50% of what's remaining at that time. And you may want to do that with some of the lower ones to ensure that you're giving money back to the taxpayers, right? Because if you don't put those percentage caps in here, you could be in a scenario where you've spent every penny of your underspend and you're not returning any to the taxpayer in that situation because you've tied it all up into these warrants and stuff. Again, we can talk through some of that. You might want to do that for the bottom one, like if you're to move this to the bottom, put a 50% cap in there, right? So it ensures that you're not.
That we always have something in there.
Something.
We've done that in the past, like a 50, 20, 30, I think is what we did.
Yep.
And,
I mean, Article 8, the spirit of Article 8, or the intent of Article 8 was always for GMS.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that's
I agree.
That's what it was for, right? And if we're talking about roof and while, other kind of infrastructure type of needs, that's really what the building maintenance reserve fund is for. Now,
Yeah.
I get it. Could capital improvement be used for those purposes? I guess technically, but that wasn't the spirit or the intent of that, right? And I guess my view is because we're potentially likely going for a renovation project for GMS, why also have an article for GMS?
I think the only point that just resonated with me was the point of if it doesn't pass.
If it doesn't pass, and I like the percentage idea, but what is that right percentage,
Right.
and what would that, right?
It sounds like we all agree that one, if we have it at all, would be at the bottom.
Right.
Yep.
And I think it sounds like, it would be a lower percentage or a lower dollar amount, if it's there at all.
Okay, so let's shift that to the bottom.
Yep.
Agree.
All right, let's drop it to 100,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
I would even
Is
say
every-
50 if we're
Is everyone,
concerned.
everyone's okay
Yeah.
with that? And then
No,
we
I-
can revisit. We're not voting
Yeah.
on this tonight, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So then, I would like to see 6 go to 100,000. Or, I mean, if you think less, that's fine. I mean, I guess in a worst case scenario, if we're looking at 100,000, like if we had to hedge 50 to find, like to try to find in the budget, do you think?
I would like to see 50. Right.
I think if it came to it, we could find it, right? Like, and when I say find it, I want to be careful here. Like, it's not like we can just find random amounts of money.
No, you have to.
But like,
Other things.
I think the benefit if we were in that situation, because if playing that situation out, we would be doing that because either of an assessment or we've changed insurance providers and something happened, whatever the case may be. We would value taking care of that situation before and freezing other aspects of our budget so we could shift the money over and take care of it. I think freezing a budget and then finding 50,000 for everything is something we can do, you know? Just to like, talk about scenario, we did this year, like we did put a freeze in our budget. This is stuff that happens behind the scenes, like where we told everyone in the district, you are not spending $1 until we solve the school care thing, right? Like when we were looking at that assessment thing. And so we froze our budget so we could not buy stuff in case we needed to use money from this year's budget, right? It's not how it played out, so now, you know, people could go back and do some different things. But yes, I think we could figure that piece out.
So I agree that 50 is probably a good number for
Okay,
that.
so let's do that. And again, we're not voting, so let's just see where that lands.
So
And
do you
then-
want the 4725 plus 50? Or do you just want 50?
Just 50. And back to Dan's point about the technology, what has the board thought about changing the positioning of the technology fund?
Well, I think that's just by the other decisions that we just talked about, that's gonna move up anyway. Right? If we're gonna drop Article 8 to the bottom and
gonna
we're gonna
move
get
up
rid
one.
of,
Yeah, it's gonna move up one spot.
yeah. It's gonna move up one.
I think that that's really as far as it can.
It
Yeah,
can
I would agree with that, right? I think it needs to be before the capital improvement, but, it's naturally, we're reducing one and shifting the other one to the bottom, so.
Okay.
Article 7, I would just put out there for consideration. When we did this last year and we did raise and appropriate the amount rather than having it come from year-end funds, I think we had talked about, if I remember correctly, I'd have to go back and watch the video. The purpose was to get this so was a habit. So it was a
Correct.
regular.
That was,
Yes.
That the habit of it was
Yep.
because and I'll just say it, because the district hasn't been the best at doing the repairs and putting aside money for future repairs
That's why I wanna
as
keep with it.
needed. I think it's important that we keep that consistency for the years forward. And so if that one isn't gonna be year-end funds, I don't know if that changes the order of it.
Does. It comes up
Put it
before.
above,
Yep.
but that would be my only thought with that one, is I'm not, again, I understand why it says year-end funds, but I think it has to be a priority.
No, I agree, because I think there should also be a record of the voters. If we're
Approving
going
it.
to be accused of not maintaining the district, then there
Right.
needs to be a record
Right.
of them
Yep.
voting to approve us to
Right.
maintain the district.
So do
That's
you
my
want to see
thought.
it like last year's?
I'd like to see it like last year's, and I'd like
And
to
have
see a
both
tax
there?
impact.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Did you get all that? We went back and forth on a lot.
The only thing, the only thing
Kinda
I
watch it
didn't
back.
get, actually, I guess it doesn't matter if you're gonna see both versions of it with the building repairs one. So we can work on the order next time, like where we want that article to be in the end, so, okay.
The building repairs, you said that's moving up if it's raised from taxes, right?
Correct, so that's gonna automatically move it up.
Right, so we're not
My
seeing
question
two
was gonna be,
versions of
did you
that.
wanna flip 6
I
or
don't
7?
think we need, I don't think we need another
You don't
building
need
and
another,
repair.
nope, just do that one.
Just do that
Got
one.
it.
Just one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same amount?
Same amount as last
Yep.
year. Yeah, we keep it consistent.
Excuse me. And then we would do just the other one, so that's gonna come up. And then we're gonna do insurance. And then just tech. If that other one has come up. Cause we're not gonna do special ed and we're not gonna do
drop
capital
special ed
improvements.
and- Well, capital improvements, we're still discussing whether we wanna drop it to the
Oh,
bottom.
we're gonna drop to the
Yeah,
bottom.
that's gonna drop to the bottom.
And we're gonna put that as 100.
And that's gonna be reduced to 100.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so if we can make those updates, and if I can ask for the updates to be shared with me, so I can get it over to the budget committee in advance of tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, because they've been active and asking for a pre-read of these warrant articles just to start to get familiar with them.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
no problem.
All right, anything else on warrant? All right, open enrollment.
So this is more of an awareness thing. What's linked there is the open enrollment case that's between the Pittsfield School District and the Prospect Mountain School District. These are both districts that are up north in the state. So open enrollment is just a pretty hot topic from a legislative standpoint right now. There's been some movement. So first, this particular court case. But Prospect Mountain is an open enrollment school district, and Pittsfield is nothing, right? They're not open enrollment. They're not in open enrollment. And so they had some students who lived in Pittsfield enrolled in Prospect Mountain, which they can do because it's an open enrollment school. And Prospect Mountain went to Pittsfield for the bill and said, you have to pay us because we've accepted these kids as open enrollment students. Therefore, you have to pay their tuition to us, right? Pittsfield said, nope, we're not going to pay you that because they chose to go to your school. We didn't send them to your school. If they want to go and pay the tuition, they can pay the tuition. So that resulted in a lawsuit between the two districts and the families that were involved, and ultimately came down on Prospect Mountain's side, which means Pittsfield has to pay the tuition bill for these students to attend Prospect Mountain.
Full tuition bill?
Yeah.
80%.
80%, sorry.
Yeah.
Doesn't include transportation, but it's whatever their tuition, the tuition, like we set a tuition for our district and stuff, right? Which one kind of shocked a lot of people in the education community because we have a lot of other practices in our world that's not how things are handled when it comes to special ed placements and CTE placements and all these other things. So it was kind of surprising to us. The case is being appealed, as you would expect. So maybe that decision is not going to stand or whatever the case may be. But it did kind of just, and with all the other legislation stuff going on in open enrollment, we need to make school boards aware that this is all going on, and right, and your vulnerability or opportunity or however you want to view it, that open enrollment potentially could be. One of the RSAs or one of the laws last year that was passed was that we have to have, every district has to have a budget line for open enrollment in it, and you have to fund it, so we put $1 in, and that is the kind of standard for school districts across the state. And right now there's a lot of different legislations looking at open enrollment. Some are expanding kind of the rules and kind of the functions of it all, defining it better. Some are proposing to do a committee study of it. Everything you can think of is kind of coming through the legislation like right now. This has been a heavy conversation up at my level, the superintendent level, on what districts want to do about it, because there's a lot of uncertainty around the rules of it. Like we haven't seen really technical advisory about it from the DOE yet, which makes sense because there's not really hard and fast laws for it yet. So I think everyone's kind of waiting and seeing what's kind of going on. We as a district, there's only 2 open enrollment districts in the state. One is Prospect Mountain and the other is Franklin. They're both schools up north. Technically, we could have a kid from Litchfield attend one of those schools, and then based upon this lawsuit, we would have to pay the tuition to 80% of the tuition to those schools for our kids to attend there, right? In our specific situation, that's quite, and remember, we're not on the hook for transportation, so that's not likely to happen because the kids would have to get to and from there every single day, and that's a long drive, and the practicality of that happening is not high, right? And there's kind of been like, I don't want to say like gentleman's agreement, but I will say it, between the schools in this area that like we're all going to kind of wait and see how some of the legal stuff plays off and not put anyone in a tough or vulnerable spot yet by declaring you're an open enrollment school and screwing other districts over without knowing how this is all going to work, right? And this is different than like what Pinkerton does. Pinkerton has private school capabilities. They're an academy. They play by a different set of rules. When we have kids from Litchfield who attend Pinkerton Academy, they're paying their own tuition. Like we don't pay that tuition or anything connected to that. So that's a different kind of local version of this that's very different and stuff like that. And they kind of straddle that private school, public school, kind of, they're a unique entity in the state, period. So I want to bring this to your attention just so you start following some of the legislation around it. At some point we may need to declare what we are. right? One of the things that schools are looking at is their capacity on how many kids they would be, one, willing to accept in an open enrollment situation. Like, what would your cap be? Like, for example, maybe our open enrollment cap could be 10 kids, right? We'd be willing to accept 10 kids into our district for open enrollment. Now, that sounds great, but like, we don't get to pick those 10 kids, right? Like, they come in, and whatever they come in with, we're covering the costs, right? Like, we're getting that money from somebody, or whatever the case may be, right?
20% of the cost.
Covering at least 20%, and then depending on how these court cases kind of go.
And they could be special education.
Could be special education, right? And the ruling in this is that special ed is dicey, like no one knows the answer to that yet. So that's why I like proceed with caution. On one hand, it could be interesting. We're a smaller district. I could definitely see some advantages to where our location is and like the size and our capacity of welcoming students into our school. But we also don't want to put ourselves in an unfortunate financial burden because maybe a student coming in with expenses that or unique needs that we don't have programming for right now, right? And we wouldn't be in a situation to turn that student away, right? On the flip side, we would have to declare whether or not we would be a sending school and we would allow students to leave us, right? Like, you could say we are a receiving school but not a sending school. And there's been talk about everyone declaring themselves receiving school and everyone declaring they're not a sending school, which means
Nobody can move.
no one can move. Now, I don't think that makes sense, right? Like,
It's a way around the
So
rule,
is
though.
Pittsfield declared as a sending school?
it declares nothing.
No.
They're neither.
So if you don't declare as
If you
anything-
don't declare,
You're just on the hook.
you're on the hook. That's why this was kind of shocking to us.
There's reading through it, right? That was a part of the follow-ups in the legislation of that whole thing. Is that undeclared gets you into a rough spot.
Right.
So our state representative is on the education committee. He may be an asset to get additional
Yes,
information. as to
we've
people's-
actually had offline conversations about this a little bit, you know. And just like, I'm all for looking at different things. I mean, there's versions of open enrollment that exist right now, like the CTE stuff is an example of this, right? Like, we have kids who go to both Alvern and Pinkerton, right, for CTE education. We pay a cost associated with that comes out of our budget. It's not 80% of the tuition, I'll tell you that. It's a much more reduced rate than that for kids' participation in those programs, and it works incredibly well. I've been in situations from special ed standpoint where schools have talked, and from best interest standpoints where we've come to different agreements where for a particular kid this might be the best thing, and this is the situation between two districts, and this is how, you know, money's going to exchange hands and stuff like that if it's needed and everything. So there's been a lot of examples where this type of mindset, like, I understand where the idea is coming from. Like, I think there's good intentions behind it. There's just a lot to be worked out before trying to do this in mass to make sure that schools aren't vulnerable one way or the other to it, right? So I think we just have to be careful. I want to make you aware of it so you can follow it. So when we do have to take action, you know, we're ready to make that action. I want you to think about, you know, the possibility of being an open enrollment school, being a sending school, what that all means. Is that stuff, you know, that we're going to be kind of interested in. We just got to be careful that we don't accidentally, like, there's real interestingness of being in our situation and being able to have additional kids in the building, in our buildings, but just like also not making sure that we're not jeopardizing us from a financial standpoint, if that makes sense.
So is all of this on hold while this is appealed?
No, all the legislation actually is like ongoing, right? Like, this is all going, and it's kind of all moving at like, you know, jump in, like.
It's going at a really rapid pace, and districts are scrambling because things are changing so fast that we're like, okay, where do we go? First we have to have a budget line, but it can have $1. Okay, but now we could be on the hook if we have a student go to Franklin now. Like, and Franklin just quickly put in a policy to be an open enrollment school and have like no kids not be a sending school so that they were not on the hook for it. Like, I think some people are moving a little too fast because it's still uncharted territory. that we need to really research so that we can make sure we're making the best decision for our district in both ways.
And it's
Like
also
receiving and
not, I was gonna
sending.
say, it's also not just a matter of changing your policy, you actually do have to have a warrant article
Yep.
as well. That would
Yeah.
have to pass to
There's
be
a
able to
lot,
enroll in school.
there's a lot of things that you have to do that,
But this was a New Hampshire Supreme Court case. Are they appealing it to the
My-
U.S. Supreme Court?
my
Like,
understanding
that's
is
the
that-
next step.
I do not know with certainty, so this is all like rumor and gossip. I have not spoken to anyone from these districts.
Like,
but-
we don't have an
Yeah.
appellate level, so if you appeal from a lower
Yeah.
court, you appeal to the New Hampshire Supreme Court, and if you want an appeal from there,
Yeah.
you're going to the U.S. Supreme Court,
been
essentially,
told
which
this-
this doesn't
It's
seem
not
like a
district?
federal
Is it
issue.
a district thing? It's not a district?
There is for federal issues. This was not in federal court. This is state court. So it's a state.
I've been told this is not done. Now that may be just like,
Okay.
like, you know,
There may be something else happening.
all the little gossip when we're texting each other, be like, can you believe this court case? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's getting appealed. Don't
I just,
worry.
when I see New Hampshire Supreme Court brief written out, I mean, that's usually, for most cases, that's the end of the road.
Yeah. So, and maybe that's what it ends up being, because obviously could be costly if they're gonna
Yeah.
pursue other things, but, I think there was a general kind of eyebrow raising that that's the way that this thing fell, so.
So that was a lot of information.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, so should the board be prepared to make decision, and if so, by when?
I would advise you not to do anything right now, like, because the legislation that's being developed, there's so much different legislation being developed right now, right? Like Sarah said, some districts are rushing to get warrant articles in. And I think that would be unwise, because we just don't know what you're committing to yourself to with those warrant articles, right? There just needs to be more definition on how open enrollment's going to work, right?
there's ways
Before
that
you
you can
declare yourself as an open enrollment
there's a
school
way
or
that
not.
you can look at your capacity too. So you could do it by grade level, right? Like you could say, okay, we could get 2 second grade, we could get 4 fifth grade, right? Depending on what your numbers are. So like, there's just a lot to look at to rush to get a warrant article, because you don't even know what that's gonna say yet.
And we really don't know the special ed pieces yet.
Yeah.
Which is
I
like,
really don't want a warrant article this year.
right, like,
We're just trying to reduce them.
and like, one of my concerns is like, because as like high-end administrators in education, we're a little dicey in what all this means. And so putting a warrant article into just people who aren't in this world every single day and asking them to decide, because like, I don't mean this in a negative way, if I'm just a random person and I see like, yeah, open the doors, let more kids come here, right? Like, that sounds great, right? Like, I can understand, like, in our position,
But as a
especially.
taxpayer, I don't think that's great.
Well, people may not, yeah, exactly, right? Like, they may not understand what that really entails. It's not as simple as just open the doors and let people in, right? Like, there's all sorts of other pieces attached to that, and possible commitments on our part to educate additional students. So, like, we just have to be careful that, like, we understand the rules fully before committing to anything.
All right, so let's keep this discussion going and add it to a future agenda.
Yeah. I mean, in general, I would encourage you to follow what's going on legislatively in the education world. I say this a little in jest, but I don't. Like, this, the SAU consolidation thing, I think it's real. And for like a smaller school district like this, you want to pay attention to what's happening there so you don't get eaten up in the big process of things, right? I'm obviously biased because part of that is eliminating the superintendent job, right? Like, so like I have feelings, but but like removing that, I mean, I did look at what early retirement looks like a couple weeks ago. Again, I say a little bit of this in jest, but just like for a smaller school district, like, because they would do that by county, right? And like that is gaining real momentum. And like you're in a county with a lot of big school districts, right? Like, I don't know if the needs of Litchfield are going to be met if you're also trying to meet the needs of Hudson and Wyndham and Londonderry and all these other districts, right? Like, you just got to be careful and kind of think these things through. We are spending a lot of money on education in the state. It is an issue. I don't want to pretend that it's not, but I don't want us to rush to rash decisions that actually make it worse for everybody. So, and I like working here. I would hate to lose my job. All right, that's all I got for that.
We know our taxpayers aren't looking for us to be absorbed into another.
Yeah. So next thing I have is just budget update. I don't have any new information. We're going to budget committee tomorrow night. Nothing's changed since when we last met, like no different, anything unexpected or anything like that. So I had that as just a placeholder, but
Have they
unless anyone has
seen
questions.
teacher contract numbers yet? Or are they gonna see them for the first time tomorrow?
They're going to see them for the first time tomorrow, but I'd like to share, again, the warrant articles with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's public, anyone can see it, and that has the real numbers in there, so.
I just didn't know, I know they were
They were asking.
anxiously awaiting.
Yeah, I have not specifically sent it in an email to them with that.
That's all I got.
Let's talk about solar panels.
Okay, we'll turn it over to Business Administrator Darling.
All right. Well, one conversation actually kind of goes with the open enrollment piece that we were just discussing is the tuition rate setting. We're going to revisit that. I did provide some more information with regard to the cost per pupil. So we do have a linked document there that basically has the breakdown of how the DOE arrives at the number that they do for cost per pupil. Is basically taking all of the expenditures that are related to pupil costs, but then it takes out food service revenue, transportation expenses, and then supplemental expenditures. And so I just did a kind of a few different scenarios that you could look at with regard to setting tuition rates, and this would of course just be for regular education, non-resident students. So unlikely that we would take students in this situation. It would be more of a EFA situation, honestly, like the student had an EFA, now that we do have the ability to accept tuition from those students. So I did reach out to legal to see if there were any parameters with regard to the school board making the determination on cost per pupil. And they did say that while most districts do use the DOE formula or some version of that, there are no restrictions. So it really is the board's authority to set that tuition rate as you see fit.
So our last discussion was, what are the actual costs, right? And making sure that we're at least thinking about that as a part of the tuition rates or before we make any decisions.
So this, what you have here is what the DOE says it should be?
Right, so at the top where it has the current expenditures, that's where all of the numbers are gonna be coming from. And then at the bottom is where the adjusted cost per pupil, those are the rates that the DOE uses for cost per pupil. So that's deducting out the transportation, supplemental expenditures, and food service revenue. If you wanted to, you could do the other scenarios where you're just taking out transportation, or you're including all of those costs.
I'm a simple math guy. The cost for me is the dollars we spend divided by the number of kids.
Right, I do think with all the recent past couple years discussion on food service, right, like that should be part of the equation, right? If we're gonna be running at a loss for food service, like that should be part of the factor, I would think.
What goes into supplemental expenditures?
That is a great question that I would need, the number that's provided for the supplemental expenditures is provided by the DOE, that comes out of our DOE 25 report. I don't have the exact amounts the things that come from that.
I would imagine that's stuff like our legal.
I was gonna say,
right?
I'm sure a lot of it is
Like-
more administration fees.
Like, it's not necessarily the administrator themselves, but like our legal expenses, the fees to run elections, that we have a little dollar amounts to do that type of stuff.
I don't know
right?
about that stuff, but I would definitely say food service and transportation, those are direct student-related costs that
But
would
if,
impact per pupil.
but if someone is coming in with a tuition rate, they're not gonna have transportation, they're gonna be self-transported. That's
True.
why those costs
True,
are
true.
backed out.
Okay, true.
So, I guess,
But I agree on
think
the
I'm in
food
agreement
service.
with you, Heidi, that transportation would come out, but everything else would stay in. Because our ability to do these other things, the supplemental expenditures still would be required.
Right.
Sure. Okay, any other thoughts? Okay, so if we can adjust those numbers,
Okay.
we should be in a position to make a motion at our next meeting.
Sounds good.
Does that timing work?
Yeah, we're
That's
not
fine.
anything pressing right now,
Yep,
so.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next item I had was the SAFE grant. The application is out right now. We are looking to, apply for some of that SAFE grant funds. We've had discussions with our emergency management team. I have a couple quotes that I'm waiting on. One of the items was another repeater. I think it was for LMS. So Mr. Burnell is getting that, quote to me. And then we're also looking at some additional cameras that are needed in, all three schools. So getting quotes for those as well. Another item that I was gonna actually discuss tomorrow at the emergency management meeting was, perhaps, in addition to the blue light system. I know when we did, one of our drills, there was some discussion about maybe having some lights that are a little bit different, that might be able to see them a little bit better outside. So, I do have someone's working on a quote for that as well. But those need to be submitted by December 8th, obviously very time sensitive, so I'll be getting those applications in.
Okay, thank you for all your hard work with that.
Sure. Solar, the state fire marshal has approved the electrical plan for the battery that Dynamic Grid will be building for us. So at this point, we're still waiting for the permits. That will be the next step in the process. And the battery plans are being shared with the building inspector. Some of the items that the fire department here wanted to make sure were done as far as the site work was perhaps having to cut back some more trees and having some more clearance from the site. So that's information that we'll need from the building inspector. They'll let us know what that, how much square feet we would need to clear of that. So that will also be the next step so that we know what else they need to do for their site work.
Okay.
Was there a state building inspector that had to look at this too?
No, it's just the state fire marshal and
Just
it's
the
a
fire marshal.
local building inspector.
Do we have a local building inspector?
Yeah,
We do.
He's
Okay.
great. I just talked to him today.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Is there a way to get the electrical plan or the battery design plans from Dynamic Grid?
Yes, I have them. I can.
Okay. I wouldn't mind trying to take a look at those.
Okay.
No idea what I'm looking at. so
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, you go. Good on you, man.
Right.
That's not what-
All you, bud.
Yeah, all you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did have one last item. The town to school payment, we set the payments before the tax rate is set, so we just set that until December, so now we just need to do the rest of the fiscal year. So I did attach what we're proposing for amounts that will be asking the town to pay the portion of the local taxes. I did send this to the town administrator to look at to ensure that she didn't have any issue, and she did not, so if the board is good with that, I would just ask for approval.
Okay. Any questions on the schedule provided? All right, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Shoemaker.
Second.
Second by Mr. Plansky. Additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the town to school payment schedule, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
And that's all I have.
All right, we'll turn it over to Dr. Taylor for an update tonight.
All right, so as busy as always in CIA world. The biggest thing we're working on right now is the upcoming December 22nd and December 23rd professional learning days. I sent out earlier this fall a professional learning needs assessment survey to all the staff to see what they were kind of seeking to have provided for professional development overall. And there were 3 kind of strands that stuck out, so that's what we're going to do for the morning of the 22nd. We're going to do professional learning breakout sessions on personalized learning and differentiation, building AI capacity, and then using our digital tools that we have. So it's going to be a nice morning of learning. Then we're going to do our instructional resource inventory in the afternoon. Then the 23rd is going to be a really nice wellness day. We had a great one last year, and we're going to continue that because we got a lot of very positive feedback from all the educators and how that day went. And we'll do a student connection activity in the morning that's led by Superintendent O'Connell. A dance party might break out again on the stage. I'm not sure. That happened last year, just impromptu.
Didn't all
Great
participate
fun.
in the
Is
dance
that going to be recorded? Is that going to be broadcast?
We
to the public?
tried. We came in to sing it. What was it, like Celebration or something? And then Val and I went on the stage and ended up just dancing it up. It was quite fun.
All right.
So yeah, I'm really excited for those 2 days. It's going to be a great.
What's involved with building AI?
Building AI literacy, just AI has become very prevalent in our world. And I've actually done a lot of research and I've gone to workshops and things about it because it's embedded in a lot of things that we do. And there are a lot of companies that are saying we want people coming to us that know how to use it. Like, there are like Wells Fargo and there were 3 other companies. I just went to a workshop a few weeks ago on it that are actually requiring all of their employees to go get trained on prompt engineering and to use AI. They're like, you will use AI. So when we're talking about building our students to be future ready, we have to build ourselves to be future ready. And then we have to decide, what does that look like for our students? And what does that look like at each level, you know? So just kind of start to build our capacity in that. Like, because we need to, because they're using it, right? Do you use it? Honestly. No. No.
Smart answer.
Good answer. Good answer.
Really, and it's not a bad thing to use it, but it's teaching how to use it. And I went to a really great workshop on not using it as a butler. I loved that analogy, but using it as a thinking partner, right? Like, don't just say, like, do this for me, right? Like, how do we teach people how to work with AI to make it so that it's a thinking partner and a back and forth kind of collaborator as opposed to write my essay for me, right? So it's been very interesting, and the landscape is very interesting.
It's interesting you say that. Even my company is mandated that they're having KPIs for us to use AI this year.
Yeah, it's there, it's out there. So we need to gear up and get ready for that so that we can try and, I mean, I would say keep up, but we're starting from behind. But we need to recognize that it's there and how we can model and teach best practices for its use and what it's there for. It's not there to do work for you, right? Like, so what is that? Okay. What does it look like?
Yeah, thank you for that. That's good. I'll be interested to hear the outcome of that.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. This is more of like a precursor to, you know, you don't have to answer this today, but we kind of talked about it a couple weeks ago. You know, when you first came on, like we're talking about what does success look like in Litchfield, and you've been doing a great job of trying to build that. I know we're working to improve test scores and doing a lot of great stuff. You know, I'm only bringing this up because I just happened to be on Zillow today and was looking at Litchfield real estate, and you scroll down and you see that we have a 5 out of 10 for GMS and LMS and a 7 out of 10 for CHS. And, you know, I know that ultimately sometimes those things that's based off of great schools, which I was trying to read about their algorithm, and they claim that their methodology continues to move beyond proficiency and standardized test scores. The latest methodology prioritizes student growth through measures of equity and school quality. I don't know what that means. However, I do think it would be really interesting to know what those are based off of and why we're reflecting as a 5 out of 10 for an elementary school where we have in middle school where we have great teachers, right, and great students and stuff like that. So I know you have nothing else on your plate right now.
Nothing at all. I was waiting for something.
But there seems to be great schools in it's like niche or something like that. I get it. But like, look, at the end of the day,
No,
right? Like
people look at it. Look, we all do the same thing. We look at it, right?
Right.
I think one of my frustrations is there's stuff like just like out of your control. Like the niche one would always drive me nuts when I was principal at Bow, because maybe I was a little competitive with Oyster River where I used to teach, and like we would get hurt for like silly things like we weren't diverse, right? It was like, yep, we're in New Hampshire. I don't think we're ever going to score high on the diversity.
Yeah, but I mean, at
diversity
least
scale.
I would be, I think that when we talk about the general public and how they view a school district, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that they're digging into our state testing scores. I think that they're logging into this, right? And so if we could at least have an understanding of, okay, yes, it's
What's
that
the weighting?
we're a town of 8,000 people, we're not very diverse. Well, that's fine. That's hard to change, right?
Yep.
But if there's things in there that we can be changing that move us from a 5 to a 6 to a 7, I don't think any of our schools are a 5 out of 10, personally.
I agree with you.
I just wanted to know.
I would say is that, like Andrew's company, my company has gone to the point of we have built our own AI repository because I can't use globally public ones.
Yep.
So with that, we've read in some very interesting cases of where of how to protect our company from nefarious use of AI. So I think I would caution we need to do it, but we got to learn how to protect ourselves against it as well.
Absolutely. Myself, Karen, and Brendan have already met, and we've looked at the school board association's AI policy, and we kind of fleshed that out a little bit. And then we're talking about, once that policy comes to the board and goes for approval, really fine-tuning procedures and really looking at those protections. Like Brendan's all about data privacy and all those things, and really gearing our users to use Gemini as opposed to ChatGPT, for example, because Gemini is within our Google suite, so we can, it's closed, and it can't record how you're using it for its learning purposes.
Yeah.
Right. So he's definitely looking at that, and we're looking at that. That's why, that's part of building our own AI literacy capacity, right? Like, what does it mean? Like, if you are trying to respond cordially to an email you got and you're putting it into ChatGPT, for example, and you're copying the whole thing that has names, it has, I don't want to do that, but people don't understand that they're collecting that data on the back end, right? Unless you're told that. So that's where these kind of PD sessions and all of that kind of stuff really are important.
Yes. There's.
Yeah. And I will look up great schools for you. You're welcome.
Dr. Taylor tonight? All right, thank you as always. Appreciate it. We have the minutes from November 19th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Shoemaker,
Second.
second by Ms. Ames. Additional discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 5-0.
I
Oh, you're abstaining. Okay, yes, so 4-0.
I wasn't here last
That's
meeting.
right, 4-0-1. Thank you. Policies, we don't have anything for first or second read tonight.
I just have one note on policies. We did get the New Hampshire School Board Association update. We're currently applying that to our policies, so you're gonna see a bunch in the near future based upon their updates. Nothing too bad. It's actually all not too bad. It's very minor things.
This is it reminds me of doing laundry. Just like
It never goes away.
I legitimately love it. Like, I'm not just
Well, when
saying
you have
this.
260 plus of them.
It was like my CAG's big project.
they
I
all
was redoing
required
all of it.
updates.
Like, I love it. I don't know. I find it fun. I'm a dork.
Just kind of like I want to see the battery design plans.
Just emailed them to you. They're all there.
All right, old business.
Enrollment, it's enrollment, nothing drastic.
changed.
Yep. GMS project, just some general updates from when we last meet. We're gonna do our next community forum on Monday, December 15th at 6 p.m. We are shifting to the CHS auditorium because our hope is to present the cost of the various options, which we figure might attract some more people. So we're having a bigger venue. We're gonna record it. We're working on that with John and stuff like that to make sure we can record it. It's going out in the Union Leader like we did last time, in that kind of weekend, whatever you guys call it, the Nashua Hudson weekend edition thing that people get here in town.
In Nashua Extra.
Yeah. Putting our big boards up around town. We got those printed off today. We're gonna laminate them tomorrow and then get them out. And
Any sign of
there
a
you go.
big orange board?
No, have not located a big orange board yet. No, sorry. So we're making progress on that. We've met with the group, I guess advisory group. I don't know how you want to define it. The 20th was the last time that group met. We're waiting on the numbers from Harvey right now. They've told us by the end of the week, and my fingers are crossed that we get it by the end of the week. They deliver on that. So, like I said earlier, as soon as I get them, I know that's the big piece. I'll send it out to everybody.
I did want them, and I made that known.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think Harriman said they needed them for a few days to
Yeah.
review.
I'm still gonna, I mean, to the board, I'm gonna, when we get them, we're gonna share them with you so you can start wrapping your head around it and stuff like that, so.
It
We'll see.
sounded like they were gonna do everything in their power to at least maybe think about having them by today. So, not here for.
I don't, the guy from Harvey said.
Yeah, he was a lot
absolutely,
more.
positively not gonna get him by the third.
I was pushing them.
He made no bones about it.
But they have been good to work with. Harvey's been great.
They've
so.
had a great track record of delivering things when they said they would, so.
Yeah.
Just I guess just in general, just I had a lot of stuff going on during the last forum. How did it go in general?
I mean, we had good turnout. You know, we had
Yeah.
more people than before. I think that's positive. We had a bunch of staff. You know, I think
Yep.
because we were talking about educational considerations that attract staff, right? We did have people obviously beyond the
Right.
staff that were there. Tried to present, you know, essentially the two options, like the solely at GMS, work solely at GMS versus work both at CHS and GMS, and tried to show what the considerations are for that and stuff. So hopefully we can have some more people next. I think cost is going to be what attracts people, right? Like that's what everyone's waiting for, because you need to do that analysis. Like I think because people are creatures of habit, they like the way that we currently do things, right? You know, whether that's a staff person, whether that's families that have kids in the system, whatever the case may be. But they got to factor in the cost difference of the two things, right? If they're the same exact cost, I think people lean one direction over the other, right? If there's a huge discrepancy between the two, people are going to go for the cheaper option, right?
Yep.
If it's that sweet spot where it's like, we really got to weigh the difference in cost versus the educational considerations, that's where I think healthy discussion is going to fall. So that cost piece is the major part now, and then kind of seeing where it goes from there. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this next meeting is really important.
December
for people
15th.
To attend.
December
because
15th,
this
we're
is
trying
the one
to
that's gonna sort of
get it in
dictate-
here before Christmas, obviously, and
Yep.
busy Christmas times. I know there's concerts and plays and everything else going on, but people can come out for that.
Is there the advisory group meeting before then?
Yeah, the 10th.
The 10th?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we sent an invite out. I know
Yes.
you've been
Yep,
busy.
and that will be
but-
remote, too.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Then we have job description updates.
Yeah, this is from last time. You know, the board asked us to go back and revisit a little bit. We did go ahead and send them to Peter in advance. He had the most questions, so and I think you were pleased, Peter, with the
I was,
updates
yep.
and stuff. So if the board has any other feedback, we're happy to apply it, but if not, if we could have you vote to approve the updated
No
job
additional
descriptions.
changes from my side. Any
Nope.
other comments?
I make a motion to approve the job descriptions for technology director at IT Tech.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Shoemaker.
Second.
Second by Mr. Plansky. Additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? There you go,
Great.
5-0.
That's it.
All right, we have the manifest this evening. And so with the manifest, do we have 3 signatures? I know
Yep.
as Miss Ames departs.
Yeah, that my
Here's your
final gift.
All right.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
Dan, you're up.
So we have several accounts payable tonight. We have accounts payable for $401,069.73. We have another accounts payable for $58,764.68. Another accounts payable for $26,573.01. And a fourth accounts payable for $16,560.98. We have a payroll of $424,841.45, and then 403B of $9,859.86. And that covers it for manifest. We will move into our second round of community input this evening at this time. No? Okay. There is no other community input tonight, and we'll shift gears into school board comments.
I've commented myself out.
Commented
I'm good.
yourself out.
I didn't know we were going to be wishing Heidi well during correspondence. But
No. Well, I figured I couldn't read that I had sent it to you and not read what I said. So yes.
I think Dom has.
I have some on what you spoke of earlier, the ratings of the schools.
Yeah.
So I heard niche was mentioned there, and I looked at niche for some of my colleges. So I'm looking at, this is our overall Litchfield School District. We're rated as a C+. And I have all the ratings here. Now, I don't know what it's based off of. I don't know how this was rated, but our academics are a B, teachers are a B, clubs and activities are a C, sports are a B+, resources and facilities are a B-, the food is a C, administration.
I'm calling them tomorrow about that.
You haven't tried the coffee yet.
Right.
Administration is a C-, college prep is a B-.
Old. This is like old stuff. This is why I get a little like whatever.
Fresh last week.
I'm telling you.
And diversity obviously is a C-.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. But I would be interested to know how they measure those things. Though. Like the
So I'm gonna look at
administration.
niche too.
I would love for you to.
Yeah.
Those are the only two I know
Time.
of.
I looked at my previous school that I came from, which was Bishop Girton in Nashua. So, like, the comparison, that one is an A-, and then we're a C+ here in Litchfield.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you doing that.
All right. The board does not have any non-public business this evening, but we do have the non-public minutes from November 19th. I'd like to move into final voting for tonight. We can do that in public session if there are no other comments or questions.
Sure.
I'll entertain a motion for the non-public November 19th minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shoemaker.
Second.
Second by Mr. Plansky. Additional discussion on those? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Abstained. So that's 401.
I'll make a motion to adjourn then.
All right, excellent. Yeah, that concludes our meeting tonight. Again, there's no non-public session for this evening. We have a motion by Mr. Shoemaker to adjourn.
Second?
Second
Well, Heidi, do you want to do it? As your
Sure.
last?
Second.
Second
Oh,
by-
sorry. I should.
No,
Wait.
no.
You
It's
withdraw
good.
it?
I'm good. I'm good.
Second by Miss Ames. All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, that carries 5-0. Thank you all. We appreciate it. Our next meeting is on December